Hi, hello, welcome back to the class, everyone. Let's dispose electronic waste safely. So, electronic waste, if you don't know, or e-waste, we call them as electronic waste or e-waste. So, electronic waste. What are the electronic waste? How to dispose them? If we didn't dispose it correctly, what can happen for us? Those are the things which we are going to learn today in this topic. Right. So all computer hardware is considered as electronic waste when they become out of use or when the user discards them. For an example, whatever the computer hardware, right? Whatever the computer hardware, when you use them and after that there will be a certain time where you can't use these electronic, or where you can't use this computer hardware, right? So when it becomes as a waste, you can't use those electronic uh, hardware, they are called as electronic waste. Now understood what is an electronic waste? When these harmful substances enter the human body, ah, now when you are throwing these electronic waste like that, just for an example, you burn them with the fire, or you just dig them in a uh, hole or whatever. Okay, if you throw them, if you throw them in the environment or you dispose it in the fire, there are some substances, there are some harmful substances which enters our body. Because when you dispose them in the fire, right, when you dispose them in the fire, there are some chemicals come out from these electronic waste. They can cause various diseases, they can cause various day-to-day inconveniences and gradually lead to develop various long-term non-curable diseases such as cancers and kidney diseases. So when you dispose these unwanted electronic waste, or when you dispose these electronic waste, for an example in the fire or just throw them in the environment, what happens? It produces some toxic chemicals. Okay, then they enter to the human body, and then they can cause many various, or they can cause various diseases, they can cause various day-to-day inconveniences and gradually lead to develop various long-term non-curable diseases. You will get non-curable diseases like cancers, kidney diseases. So it is very harmful. For that, you should dispose this electronic waste in a safe way. When we dispose these tools improperly to the environment, it can cause great damage to the environment as well as to human beings, since they have been manufactured from various harmful metals such as copper, aluminium, and lead, as well as from plastic. So, these electronic waste or these electronic devices like computers, earphones, washing machines, TVs, smartphones, all these devices are made up with what? Aluminium, copper, uh, isn't it? Plastic. So these are made of these things, right? So these metals are harmful. If you just throw them in the environment, it can damage the environment as well as the human being. So you should dispose these electronic waste in a proper way. Understood? So for an example, there is a toxic which produces, there is a toxic which is produced by this aluminium and all these electronic waste. If this lead, okay, if this toxic lead produced, what happens if it enters to human body? What happens? Damage in brain. It damages the brain, damages the kidney, and disorder in blood circulation. So lead is a toxic. You know toxic? Lead is a toxic. Harmful thing. Toxic. It is a harmful chemical. Visham. Visha. Understood? Toxic mean visha. එහෙම නැත්නම් Vesam. Device. Device. Upang. Device mean upang. So when these devices are disposed in an improper way, it will produce toxics. Okay, so there is a toxic named lead. If this lead enters to human body, it damages the brain, it makes kidney failures and disorders in blood circulations. And there is another thing called barium. Barium, brain swelling, muscle weakness, damage to heart. Mercury, damage to kidneys and nervous system. Beryllium, lung cancers. So these are some of the illnesses which can be caused by this electronic waste. Understood? Right. So, since these hazards can cause damages for generations, so if you didn't dispose these electronic waste in a proper way, it can make many damages for the generations. Okay, not our generation only, the next generation, the other generation, all the generations will be caused with these damages. They must be disposed properly. For that, the 3R system can be used. If you want to dispose this electronic waste in a proper way, then you should follow the 3R system. What you should follow? The 3R system. So the 3R system or the 3R method means reuse, reduce, and recycle. What? Reuse, reduce, and recycle. Since these hazards can damage the generations. You know, these are the hazards. These are dangerous things, right? Since these dangerous things can cause damages for the generations, we must dispose these e-waste in a proper way. For that, we are using the 3R system. Okay, 3R system or the 3R method. So 3R system or 3R method means the 3 R's: reuse, reduce, and recycle. Reuse, reduce, and recycle. So what is the meaning of reduce? I will tell you. What is the meaning of reduce? Reduce mean it is not necessary to upgrade to new equipment periodically if we maintain existing equipment properly as to use them for a long time. For an example, we will learn what is here. Okay, this reduces the amount of waste that is released to the environment. So see here, there is a boy, there are two boys are talking together. So one of them are telling, one day there was a problem in our computer. My sister told my father to buy a new one, but he brought necessary parts and repaired the computer. Reduce mean don't use new equipment or don't use new devices periodically. Periodically, don't use these new things. Periodically mean what? Always. For an example, you are buying a laptop, right? So a small damage happened in your laptop, then you are throwing this laptop and buying a new laptop and use instead of the old laptop. Don't do that. If you have a problem in your laptop and if you can just replace the damaged part and repair the laptop and use the laptop. Don't buy new one until there will be a time where you can't use the computer, isn't it? You can't use the computer anymore. then okay, go buy a new computer. But if a small damage happens in your computer and it can be replaced, or if it can be repaired, then repair your computer and use the old one. So here you are reducing the use of the computer. Understood? Next one, reuse. Reuse means when purchasing new equipment, consider donating or selling the old equipment if they are in working condition without discarding them. For an example, if you use a computer, right? If you are using a computer and you buy a new one, we'll say you bought a new computer. Now you are having an old computer and a new computer. Both are working, right? Then don't throw this computer. Don't dispose this computer, the old one. What you should do, donate it for someone. Give it to someone to reuse it. Or else sell it. You can sell the computer to another one. Understood? Without discarding them, without throwing that. If it is not in work condition, if the old one is not working, we'll say if it is working, you can sell it, right? Or else you can donate it to someone. But if it is not working, then what can we do? Then it can be utilized for the other purposes. For an example, you can use them like decorations. For instance, as shown in the picture, an empty monitor can be used as a flower pot, and a casing of the system unit can be used as a garbage bin. So you think something creatively and use these uh, electronic waste for decorations. So see here in this picture, they use the computer's monitor, the discarded computer monitor, as flower pots. Beautiful. Now understood. So you can reuse them. You can reuse them. The amount of waste that is released to the environment is therefore minimal. Now, if you reuse this electronic waste, then the e-waste which you are releasing to the environment, throwing to the environment, will be minimal, will decrease, isn't it? Understood? Third one, recycle. Ah, reduce the amount of use. If not, reuse them. You can reuse them, or else you can recycle them. What is recycle? Equipment which are not repairable or reusable. There are some equipment you can't reuse them, or even you can't reuse them as flower pot, or you can't reuse them as decoration, we'll say. Then what to do? We should throw it, right? It is in vain, it is not usable. Then you should be recycled without discarding them. Don't discard them. Discarding means just throwing it to the environment or burning it in the fire. Don't do that. Okay, it will be harmful to the human body, also to the environment. So if it is not repairable and not reusable, what you should do, don't discard that, just go and recycle that. How to recycle? It should be handed over to an electronic waste recycling company. There are many electronic waste recycling companies in Sri Lanka. Okay, you can hand over these electronic waste to them and then they will recycle them. So recycling is, what is recycle mean? Recycling is a process of transforming the e-waste to a new product. They transform the waste thing to a new product. They make a new product with that. Waste is separated into small parts and new material is produced through machinery. Next one, let's use passwords to protect computers. What are passwords? Probably you know what are passwords, right? I no need to teach you about the passwords because you know the passwords. So what are the passwords? We are using the passwords to protect the data and information in our computer, isn't it? Right. So computers should be safeguarded physically as well as logically. Physically means the physical devices, like the hardware. The hardware should be safeguarded. You should protect them from the thief, from the water, isn't it? Right. Likewise, we should protect the logical things in the computers also. What are the logical things in the computer? Like the data and information you save in the computer, the photos, the videos, the documents, isn't it? You should safeguard them. So how to safeguard these logical things which are inside the computer? How to safeguard the computer logically? You must have read in fairy tales that a door is opened with a secret word, isn't it? Have you ever read fairy tales? Fairy tales books like Cinderella, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, and what else? Sweet Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, and Aladdin. These are fairy tales, right? So in the fairy tale, um, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, they are. Have you heard about Alibaba and the 40 Thieves? If yes, put a yes. Have you read the book of Alibaba and the 40 Thieves? Or have you ever heard the story of Alibaba and the 40 Thieves? Ah, so there, what Alibaba does, he goes to there is a big cave, right? There is a big cave. So he goes there when he wants to open this cave. What he should do, he should tell a spell. There is a password. Open sesame is the password. Okay, there is a secret word. If you want to open that cave's door, you should tell a secret word. So the secret word to open the cave of Alibaba is open sesame. If you say open sesame, then only the door will be open. So it is a secret word. So these are, we have heard them in the fairy tales, right? Also, there is a key to, so as well as when you want to open the main door of your house, you should have a key, isn't it? Can you open the door without a key? You can't. There should be a key if you want to open your main door of your house. Like that, to protect the information stored in the computer from outsiders, a secret word can be set in the computer. That is known as a password. So there are secret things, there are important, valuable things inside your house, right? So that's why when you are going outside of the house, what do? You lock the door and go outside the house, isn't it? Now if you are entering the house, or if someone or some outsiders like a thief or someone unknown person comes to enter to your house without a key, can he or she enter to your house? Can't, right? Can't. So he should have a key. Like that, inside your computer, there are secret, valuable, important data and information in the computer. So to protect all these things from the outsiders, you use a secret word in the computer. You set a secret word in the computer. So that secret word is called as password. Now understood what is a password? Everybody understood what is a secret word? To protect the information stored in the computer from the outsiders, a secret word can be set up. So this secret word is called as a password. Then you must enter the password before entering the computer. Before enter your house, you should use the keys, right? To open the door. Likewise, Before enter into your computer or to your phone, you should give the password. Then only you can enter to your computer. If the password is incorrect, the computer doesn't allow you to enter. Follow the guidelines given below when setting a password. So when setting a password, it should be set correctly. You cannot set just like that. So first one, the password must be a collection of letters, numbers and symbols. It should have minimum of 8 characters including at least one of the above types. So when you are setting up a password in your computer or your device, whatever the device, when you are setting a password, you should or you must use a collection of letters, numbers and symbols. And also the characters of your password should be minimum 8 characters. Second one, a password must not include some simple information like your name, birthday, etc., which can be easily guessed. When you are setting up a password, don't put your name as a password. For an example, my name is Sarah. So I am not setting up the password as my name. Or don't set up your password as your birthday. It is wrong. Don't do that. Why? Because it is easily guessed. It can be easily guessed by anyone, isn't it? Anyone can guess that. So for an example, if I am using you, I take your phone, I guess maybe the password will be your name because it is your phone. But don't put your name, your birthday, your father's name, your pet's name. Understood? Don't use this because it is easily can be guessed. You can give a password hint. If you forgot your password, you can give a password hint also. In case you forget the password, you can give a word or a statement as a hint that will help you to recall it again. By giving an email address, the password can be restored. So you should have an email address. If you give the email address, easily you can restore your password. For an example, when you are setting up a password, never set it up in your name. Now this is my name, right? So I am setting a password like this. It is guessable, right? Everybody can guess this password. If they use my computer, they think maybe the password is Sarah Jamal. Then they will use the name Sarah Jamal, my name. Or else maybe they will use my uh, date of birth. Maybe they will use my date of birth. Understood? And maybe they will, maybe sometimes they use the uh, less than 8 characters. Less than 8 characters. For an example, like this. So this is 4 characters. Don't use passwords like this. When you set a password, you should use letters, numbers, symbols, and the password should be more than 8 characters and it shouldn't be guessed by anyone. For an example, I am setting up a password like this. See, now can anyone guess this password? Can't, right? No one can guess this password. So the correct method of using a password or the correct method of creating a password is as the below one. This one is the correct one. You should use like this. Now understood how to create this is a strong password. This is a strong password. If your password should be strong, you should use letters. It can be capital or simple letters, doesn't matter. Use capital and simple letters. Use numbers. Use symbols. Use more than 8 characters. Characters mean this. There are how many characters here? Tell me, will you? How many characters are here? Send me in the box. How many characters? Send me in the chat box. Mm. There are nine characters. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters. Let's go with a small summary. What we have learned in the second chapter. Okay, what we have learned in the second chapter. We learned the use of the computer laboratory safely. How to use the computer laboratory safely. We identified the computer laboratory here. So I told you that there are computer devices in the computer laboratory. And then I told you when using the computer laboratory correctly and safely, we should follow the guidelines for our safety, and we should follow the guidelines for the safety of the devices inside the computer laboratory. For your safety, keep everything, boys and girls, keep everything and just concentrate on the summary I am telling to you. For our safety, never ever touch the devices such as wires and sockets which are connected to the electricity, that it can cause some damages for you. So don't touch them. Also, you should be aware of the exit door of the laboratory. You should know where is the exit door in the laboratory. You should be aware of fire extinguishers in the laboratory if there are any. And also you should avoid running and playing inside the computer laboratory. So these are the guidelines which we have to follow to safeguard ourselves. Then how to safeguard the devices inside the computer laboratory. Never ever supply power to devices without correct instructions of the elders or the teachers. When you enter the computer laboratory, you should remove your shoes and enter to the computer laboratory. You should clean the equipment and the computer laboratory and keep it dust free every time. Okay, so clean your computer laboratory. All the equipment must be switched off properly after using, and then the used equipment should be placed in the proper places after use. Virus scanning should be done when connecting external storage devices such as flash drives to the computer, and then avoid taking food and water or whatever the liquid into the computer laboratory because they may damage the equipment in the computer laboratory. After that, we learned how to operate the computer. So we learned how to switch on the computer correctly. So the guidelines, first you should supply the electricity to the computer by turning on the switch connected to the computer. If the computer is connected to an equipment, if the computer is connected to an uninterrupted power supply, which is the UPS, turn it on. Then the system unit should be switched on. Then finally you should turn on the monitor. So as I told you, these steps can be different from computer to computer, because when you are using a laptop computer, you are not turning on the computer like the above one, because there the laptop computers have only single power button. After that, we learned how to shut down a computer properly. So first you should close any programs that you have opened in the computer. Then you should select the command shutdown and then click it. Then switch off the power button of the monitor, the on and off button. And then when the screen becomes dark, okay, just wait until the screen becomes dark and then switch off the monitor, then switch off the UPS and the wall switch respectively. After that, we learned the computer ethics, right? So what are the computer ethics? When you are using the computer laboratory, you should be silent without disturbing others. You must avoid hacking computer activities of others. You should refrain from accessing computer files and articles of the others without their permission. You shouldn't repair any computer devices without proper instruction. Software which should be used by paying money should not be fakely used or copied. You should pay money and use these softwares. You shouldn't access the internet without the supervision of your teacher or your elders. You shouldn't uninstall or change or delete any programs without the permission of the teacher. So these are some of the computer ethics. There are many computer ethics which you should follow. So this is what we learn in the grade 6 book. Then we learned the correct postures when using the computers. I told you how to sit in front of the computer, how to look into the monitor, how to keep our hands when we are using the mouse and keyboards, right? If we didn't follow the correct postures of the computers, what happens? What are the harmful things happens for us? We learned it. For an example, pain in the eye, problems in eyesight, and tearful eyes can occur, pain in backbone, strain in feet, pain in fingers and elbows. So it can be occurred if you didn't follow the correct postures in the when using the computer. Then we learned about how to dispose the electronic waste safely. So electronic waste are the computer hardware which is considered as electronic waste. When we can't use them, the user, what the user do? The user just discard them. So these are electronic waste. If there are any hardware which are not in use, then it is electronic waste. It considered as electronic waste. So if you didn't dispose this electronic waste safely in a correct way, then it can be harmful to the environment as well as for the human body, because there are some toxic chemicals comes out from these electronic waste. Then it enters to human body and it can damage our uh, it can damage the human organs inside the body. And also then we learned what are the proper way of disposing the e-waste. So we learned about the 3R system or the 3R method. We should reduce them, we should we should reduce them, we should reuse them, and then we should recycle them. So how to reduce them? Instead of buying new products, we can repair our computer or the equipment. Reuse mean you should, when if you buy a new computer or a new equipment, just consider to donate them or sell the old equipment which are in working condition without discarding them. If not, if they are not in working condition, you just can utilize them for other purposes, like I told you, using the monitor as flower pots. So you can make them as decorations and use them. After that, recycle mean you can give these equipment or the computer or the electronic waste to recycling companies, so that they can recycle them, they can transform their waste to a new product, right? Then we learned about the password how to use a password to protect the computer and why we are using the password. So I told you we are using the password to protect the data and information inside inside the computer from the outsider. So we use passwords. And then I told you how to set up a strong password in your computer. So when you are setting a password in your computer to protect the information and data inside your computer, you must use collection of letters, numbers and symbols, and also it should be minimum 8 characters it should include minimum 8 characters in your password. Never ever use passwords as your name, as your birthday, because it can be easily guessed. And also, if you forget the password, for that you can use password hints, then that you can recall it again, and then by giving the email address you can restore your passwords. So this is all what we have learned in your second chapter. So hope everybody understood the lesson of today. So until we will meet again at the next class, thank you for joining the class everyone. Have a nice day.